I'm going to be sailing on the Norwegian Joy October 20th to the 24th. It is a 4-day Bahamas cruise with 1 sea day, and then we are going to be in Great Stirrup Cay, maybe, as long as the weather's okay, and we are going to be going to Nassau. So today we're going to talk about what our budget is for that cruise and just how much it does cost to go on a 4-day Norwegian cruise on Joy. Let's go. Hey everyone, John here from Byte Size Cruises. Welcome back to the channel. If it's your first time checking out one of our videos, we're a travel agency. Our goal here is to give you the best information possible about cruising so you can plan to go on an amazing cruise vacation. Today, we're talking about how much it actually costs to go on a 4-day Norwegian cruise here in October of 2025. Cruise pricing is really all over the board right now. You can find some deals with some different cruise lines, even Royal Caribbean. I just priced out an older ship cruise that was very, very reasonable. You can find super expensive cruises on Royal, on MSC, on Norwegian, on Carnival, on Virgin, on everybody else. So let's get into where you can find some deals and what your trade-offs may be and what the actual budget is here. So generally, if I'm going on a cruise by myself, I try to keep things as reasonable as possible. I always book an inside or a studio cabin if I can, and I just try to book the least expensive thing I can book. Sometimes I'll book a guaranteed cabin. Most times I'll try to pick something just to be a little sure of where I'm going to be, but I don't mind rolling the dice sometimes. I'm not super picky about it. I'm aware of all the pros and cons of doing that. So for this specific cruise on the Joy, again, this is a 4-day Bahamas round trip out of Miami. I decided to book an interior. They don't have a studio on board, so I booked a solo inside on Joy. Joy was a ship that was built for the Asian market and refit for the US, so they didn't build that kind of solo studio environment on there. So I booked an inside cabin, and it was around, when I booked it, it was around $850. Since then, the price has dropped drastically. I don't think this specific cruise sold very well, for whatever reason. I am noticing on the Facebook group, I always join the Facebook groups and then I get out of them on the day of the cruise. I've talked about that ad nauseum. They just get a little toxic once you get on the ship. But it's good information. It's good to see like what you're walking into. It does seem like a very party forward crowd. Generally speaking, 3 to 4 day cruises are going to be a little more booze cruisy, party cruises, especially leaving out of Miami. It's, you know, a lot of local people are going to be going on these quick little trips, especially the Friday to Monday ones. They tend to be really booze cruisy. We'll talk about my next cruise after this one. But on this one, we're doing a 4-day on this, and it's a Monday to Friday. So I don't think it's going to be crazy, but it does seem like everybody in the Facebook group really enjoys partying. That's not necessarily a red flag. You can party and be super respectful, or you can party and be out of pocket. So we shall see what we're up against. But it does look like everybody just wants to have a good time. So we're starting off in a good place. So it was around $800. It has dropped drastically since then. I went back in and repriced, which if you have a travel agent or you book directly through Norwegian, you can just call and see if it makes sense to reprice your cruise. Keep in mind when you reprice, if you had an onboard credit or you had some special deal that was set up, you're going to lose that when you reprice. When you reprice, you're essentially canceling your booking and redoing it at the current rates. And sometimes it makes sense to do that because the price will drop a certain amount. Sometimes it doesn't. So in this particular case, it made sense for me to do that. I had repriced, and while I was repricing, I kind of went in there. I wanted to upgrade my Wi-Fi, which I needed to do anyway, and prepay my gratuities. On Norwegian, your gratuities are $20 per person per day, so it's $80 for me to add my gratuities. And it was $99, $99.96 to upgrade my Wi-Fi to the streaming Wi-Fi because I already had the More at Sea beverage package and the specialty dining and the internet minutes. So keep in mind what we have here is we have the guest fare, right? So you have what it costs to go on the cruise. We have port fees and taxes, which are you have to pay for everybody. They're higher or lower depending on where you're going. Bahamas tends to be not that crazy. Next up, we have the More at Sea package that you add on for Norwegian if you'd like to. That includes the drink package. That includes specialty dining credits based on interior or ocean view balcony or suite. And then now I've added on prepaid gratuities, and I've added on the Wi-Fi. So that took me up to a total of $1304.40. Okay, so that's where we're at, $1304.40. And while I was in there, I repriced and just moved myself up to a club balcony. So for the same amount of money that I was paying, I added those other features. So I was around 809, I think it was 890 initially. So I was around 890. I added the gratuities, which took me up to almost 1,000. I added the Wi-Fi, which took me up to about 1,100. And then at that point, I added the More at Sea package as well, which took me up to 13. The beverage package, $120 essentially, which is great for a 4-day cruise. If you think about it, it's just nice to have it. At that rate, which is $30 a day, it's really nice to have it just to be able to get sodas, grab a drink here and there, and have peace of mind. At 70, 80, 90, $100 a day, definitely not worth it. The specialty dining, I get one specialty dining credit, which is 20. You're adding it in there, right? So that takes me up to the $1304.40. So let's break everything down for you so that it's really clear. I like to be super transparent when we're doing pricing, so you're really aware of what you're paying for. Guest fare, $840. Taxes and fees are $150. There is this thing in there that's a non-commissionable fare, which is part of your cruise fare that travel agents don't get credit for commission on. If you book with a travel agent, let's break down the fourth wall a little bit for if you're booking through a travel agent. Whenever you book through a travel agent, they don't get commission on your port fees and taxes. In this case, $150.02. They don't get commission on a lot of the packages sometimes. So for instance, they may not get commission on like that Wi-Fi package, on the More at Sea, depending. Things depend. So guest fare, $830.80. The non-commissionable fare, which is what we're talking about here, is $340. So we don't get commission on that. The taxes and port fees, $150. So then you're up to like $500 of that fare we don't get commission on, just to kind of give you an idea. Then there is a savings in there. So there's a discount, which is $242.20, which is basically whatever rate you're booking at. You know, sometimes Norwegian does 35% off the first guest. Sometimes they do 70% off the second guest. So you have that kind of savings, $242.20. The upsell Wi-Fi, $99. More at Sea beverage, $120. More at Sea dining, $20. Prepaid gratuities, $80, which comes out to then your $1304.40, which is where we're at our budget all in. So in addition to that, I'll go through other things that I may spend money on board. So obviously we have flights because I'm going to Miami. This is going to be a little bit prorated because I'm going on a second cruise after this. So I try to find value. I'm going on Wonder of the Seas for 3 days after this cruise. So I'm getting off of this ship, getting right back on Wonder with Judy. Judy's coming down. We're going to get on Wonder because Judy only goes on fancy ships. And then we're going to go Friday, Saturday, Sunday, come back Monday morning on Wonder, which is just going to Nassau and Perfect Day. So 2 private islands in a week. So I'm going to prorate my hotel stay and my airfare on this budgeted together. So all together. Okay, let's start with my hotel. My hotel total is $194.35. I'm staying at the Grayson in downtown Miami. This is a really nice hotel. I always check a lot of reviews before I book a hotel for myself or for anybody else. I check to make sure if there are additional fees or anything weird like that. All in here, we're at $194.35 for one night. So I'm just going to split that in half and attribute half to each of my cruises to give you an accurate budget. So it's going to be about $100 there. And then my flight down and back round trip, $343. So that's my round trip flight. So we'll just split that in half at $170, right? So then we're about $1,600. So $1,600 for a 4-day cruise in a club balcony now, as we moved up to the fancy schmancy club balcony, with all my drinks, my Wi-Fi, my gratuities, everything all in for one person. It's a pretty good deal, I think, There's, you know, I'm flying, so you have airfare in there, you have a hotel in there, you have all of your food and drinks included. There's nothing else that I need to spend money on, with the exception of if I decide to do some type of excursion, which I won't. I'll just walk around Nassau. I will use the private island without spending any additional money. I don't have to pay for drinks there yet till March of 2026. So we'll be all good there. And then, of course, if I decide to do bingo or anything like that, ride the go-karts or something like that, on board. So for now, that is my all-in budget. That is how much it costs for one person to go on the NCL Joy. Just as a little preview, it wouldn't cost that much more for two, as I'm in a room that is made for two people, so I'm basically paying double occupancy anyway, less port fees and taxes. So if you put this all together for two people, it would be a little over $2,000 with all of your stuff built in there, but just give you a good idea of what's going on. So that is my budget for the NCL Joy. If you have any questions at all, or if you need more information, please feel free to email me at jp@bytesizecruises.com or comment below. Thanks so much. Have a great day and happy cruising. Bye.